Hi, my name's Mark. I'm one of the pastors here at Trillium. It's so easy to turn anyone in the moment into the enemy. You can turn your spouse into the enemy, your kids, parents, siblings, neighbors, work colleagues. That homeless person that's straddled out beside the door you want to go through can become the enemy in the moment. The government can become the enemy. An agency can become the enemy. A medical personnel, anybody can become the enemy in the moment. And it is one of the tragic realities of our lives that we can turn, sometimes even people we love passionately in the moment, into the enemy. I had a running skirmish with my wife last week. We had these just hard interactions, unfortunate words, cold stares. And the person I love most in the world becomes, for a moment in my life, the enemy. And when that tendency ripples out into the public square, we get things like the Quebec City mosque massacre, where 6 men, innocent men, are killed by someone. And it's a real problem for us in life when we create the other into the enemy. And it's, as I say, it leads to horrible interactions in families and in communities and between nations. I'm troubled a little bit by Donald Trump, and it's easy to rag away on him from a Canadian point of view. But the thing that troubles me most is not so much the policy. We can agree to disagree on policy, or even the people he's putting in charge of the government, the United States government. What troubles me most is that he has this propensity to take someone who disagrees with him and make them into the enemy. He brought a ban on immigration or visiting from 7 Arab countries, Middle East countries. And we might quibble about the policy, we might even debate the policy in a profound way, but what strikes me most is that when a judge put a temporary restraining order on that ban, Trump's on his Twitter, raging away against the judge, making disparaging comments about him and making it so personal. And he seems to do that with everybody that disagrees with him, whether it's the president of Mexico or the prime minister of Australia or other political leaders, or even a local union representative. They get into a disagreement with him, and he makes them into the enemy. And it's really important for us to remember Jesus' words not to judge one another, because by the judgment we put against another, we bring it against ourselves. And if we judge harshly Donald Trump's propensity to make others into the enemy, and we make him ourselves into the enemy, we are doing exactly the same thing he does. And it's easy for this to ripple through, and it creates, as I say, great mayhem in life. And the antidote to making the other the enemy is to more powerfully commit ourselves to being God's hands in the world, to extend perfect love to our neighbor, whoever they might be, to offer friendship and fellowship to all. We looked on Sunday at a scripture of the Macedonian church in North Greece, and its ability to lavish great generosity on the church in Jerusalem that was struggling at the time. See, a major physical calamity had come upon the church in Judea and in Jerusalem, and they were under huge pressure. And a call went out to all the sister congregations throughout the Eastern Mediterranean for assistance. And even though the Macedonian church itself was under huge pressure, nonetheless, they themselves in their poverty still managed to lavish generosity on their brothers and sisters 1,000 miles away who they had never met. How do we account for that kind of generosity in life, in the micro parts or in the big aspects of life? And I think it only comes when we recognize the other not as enemy, but as our sacred brother and sister in life. The ability to see the other as our sister and brother, not as enemy, is something that's intrinsic to following Christ. I mean, he himself represents what it means to extend that perfect love to the neighbor around us. And our ability to translate that into tangible expressions of compassion and generosity is the hallmark of what we are called to do with our lives. So the next time you find yourself in a moment where you are under pressure and you feel a desire to make that other over there into the enemy, take in that moment the opportunity rather to extend those arms and hands. Let them be God's hands and you will be the ambassador of love to the other.